What if I told you I made over $100,000 in my first month after quitting NASDAQ and I'm never going back? And in this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly why you should stop trading NQ in 2025 and instead flip to something that is way smoother, more structured, and way more predictable. Because if you keep trading that choppy NAS chart, you might make money like I did, but you're going to burn out or literally blow up. So let's break this all down. I've been trading NQ for over 5 years and now I want nothing to do with it. Ever since I stopped trading NQ, I work less, I make more, the price action is so much better, and I don't have to worry about margin anymore. And let's be real, if you're scalping NQ in 2025, you're going to go through these experiences just like I did, and it sucks. The price action recently has been absolutely terrible. We're constantly near all-time highs, which is making trading consistently very hard and very unpredictable. And it's put me in a situation where I have to step away. You have to realize this is my job. This is how I make money. I need to make sure I'm putting myself in the best position every single day so that I can continue to live like this and make sure that I'm always consistently building on my lessons. I can't watch this price action on NQ sit there and know that I could be doing something better, while meanwhile there's people like me that made the switch and now I've been seeing these ginormous wins. On top of the constant reactions to news and earnings announcements, President Trump has no chill anymore with these war tensions, making it only more unpredictable and only more uncomfortable every single day. You never know what's going to happen. If you look at the short-term price action on NAS of recently, you're seeing these wicks, you're seeing this manipulation, and just being real with you guys, NQ does not move how it used to be. The reward is no longer there. The volume has gotten too high and it's making it way harder to trade consistently. And when I show you what I do now, how much more money I make while doing less, while being able to manage my positions way more, you're going to make the same decision as me. I have a very close friend of mine that makes a lot more money than me inside of the forex and futures market. The one thing that has stuck with me ever since I made this switch, and it makes so much more sense to me, I'm on the phone with him and he tells me NQ can make you rich, but gold will make you a millionaire. Let me show you how gold just makes way more sense and how it's completely changed the way I trade. Gold is not what most traders think. It is not boring, it's consistent. Trading NQ is like playing poker at a table full of cheaters. Everything feels rigged and you're constantly second guessing your next move. Trading gold, on the other hand, is like playing chess with a clear board. You can actually plan ahead, spot the patterns, and win with strategy. If you ignore my take on gold, you're gonna end up leaving serious profits on the table. I'm not gonna lie, I can't stop winning. Literally just made $9,000 while I'm recording this. I've been printing. Gold's price action and the structure behind it is so much cleaner and so much easier to manage. When you look at the NASDAQ futures index, it is based off of the 100 top tech companies in the world. Of course, not all of them compare the same way, but you have so many moving parts going on inside of this index. Apple could come out with this amazing news and everybody's bullish on it while the rest of the stock market is down, and it's going to start to really fight against each other. You have to worry about so much random tech news, so much global sentiment. When you look at gold, you guys are going to freak out. This is fully driven by global sentiment. This is something that trading at night actually does work out really well. There's nothing that's going to be constantly impacting the price of gold other than news. When you do have these big impact news sentiments get created, once those come out, price action stays very consistent to that side until there is another sort of news that's going to flip that. Gold isn't going to come out with a new iPhone every year and constantly be changing sentiments. It's just the price of gold. High time frame trends are everything with gold. I've never seen something respect these high time frame zones better. Once again, it's a currency. It's one thing. There's nothing really going on outside of that. It's a lot easier to spot these big fish and make sure you are trading with the right side and always selling in the perfect position. Of course, I'm going to show you how to do that later, but I'm telling you, you only need 5 to 10 points on gold. And that sounds crazy coming from an NQ trader. You know, I'm looking for 50, 70, 100 a day. If I catch 5, I am like up. Moral of the story is gold does not move like a casino. It moves more like a business. You are seeing this constant uptrending if you look on the higher time frames, but it can be very rangy, but it's slow and it's predictable. I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. There's days I would trade for 5 hours on NQ. You give me an hour on gold and I'll make double what I used to. Now that I'm doing less and making more, my budget has gone up. Obviously that stuff's cool, but mentally when I wake up, I get excited to do this. I lost my passion trading NQ. Every single day I walked into this office, it felt like I was battling. And especially in an unprofitable position like some of you might be, it's just going to feel like an uphill battle, and that's not what you need to do. I preach this so much. So many of you guys dive into these very in-depth strategies just trying to pull out pennies in the market, when in reality the best things you can do are surround yourself with opportunities and put yourself in positions to succeed. And it's not just me seeing these crazy results. The whole Discord's seen a huge uptick in profit returned every single day. Get alerts from every single trade I take and trade live with me in the mornings. Get access to more in-depth versions of the strategies that I trade, and more importantly, just be a part of one of the best communities in the space. So if you're serious about becoming a consistent trader and learning the ins and outs of this game and want a proven plan to follow, just click that top link below. Give it a month. You will not regret it. Now you're probably asking, is Steph ever going to actually show me how to trade gold? Put your seatbelts on and subscribe. A big issue I had initially was that I went from trading NQ for 5 years and fully switching to this new new style in this new index, and I had no idea what I was doing. Biggest problem by far is I was expecting the same volatility through gold, which essentially you are, but let me show you why it's a little different. When you're looking at NQ, you're expecting this big move to happen, but it takes so long. The wicks are unbearable. It's so hard to trade short term now. The volatility is still there, but it's distributed different, and this is the first example why. When you see NAS, you see these big pops, and then you see this big chop, and then guess what follows it? Another big pop. The problem with this is on NAS, you're steadily chasing those big pops, when in reality, this is a slow growing, moving stock. Forcing that same speed that you trade NQ with is going to lead to overtrading. It's going to lead to frustration, and you have to stay away and make sure that's the first step to actually switching over and seeing pretty consistent profits with this. Remember what I talked about earlier, the high time frame zones are so key. So the biggest thing that I've done of recent is before every single day, I'm going on the 4 hour, I'm going on the 1 hour, I'm finding a high and a low to mark out to make sure I have kind of a range setup. It's so important to have this early range setup before you trade today. I came back and I found this 4 hour low initially, and this is what I made a huge amount of profits off of right here. We marked out this low. We also marked out this high. Now at the time, price was falling like this, and I actually had no idea what we were doing, but the biggest thing you have to take away from this is I really like to trade off of dead zones. Dead zones are areas where there are no big important areas to look for. Right here, we have a huge bottom wick, and right here, we have a huge top wick. These are big areas where we could expect to see some kind of consolidation, some big kind of rejections. In this area you have circled right here, there's nothing going on. It is kind of a no man's land, which is always going to favor the current trend. If you look on the 4 hour right now, at this time, we had a huge downtrend. We retested upwards. We found a high, and now we're trending back down, initially targeting this low. You could look at this low here, but I would lean again looking for those big 4 hour rejection areas, and our first one is here. Now at this point, you switch your bias. You understand I have a lot of opportunity to the downside. Until I see some sort of breakthrough to this side, you should really be sticking with one side, and that is bearish at the moment until, and of course, as you guys notice, I made so much money off of this move right here. We had a perfect, beautiful rejection off of this 4 hour low. Remember I told you guys this is the area where we expect to see shorts. Falls perfectly below, even cracks this low, comes all the way back up. Wait for the 4 hour close. Always wait for the close. One of the most bullish indicators right here of an opportunity back to the upside. We understand we had this area drawn out. I have so many, credibility moments of me where I literally told inside the Discord, this is where you guys need to wait for buys. It come all the way down, finally showed those buys. This was the area we saw that really piqued buyers' interest. They took control right here. This was the greenest of greenest opportunities. And what do you guys know? Inside of that no man's land, look at that beautiful buy up. And guess what? Where does it stop? At the same high. This is stuff that you do not see on NQ. You would see this maybe happen. It would go all the way up to the fucking moon, come all the way back down, go all the way back up, and then you would just be completely cooked. You have to make sure you're not over trading these small random moves. What you need to do is you need to go into the day, look at where price is on the 4 hour, mark the high, mark the low. What is it most recently rejected off of? In this scenario, it most recently rejected off of this high right here. We need to play to the short side. Gold is going to reward patience. It's not like NAS where you have to kind of take a little here, and you have to stack up slowly until you get to 50, 100 points in the day. One trade is all you need, which falls right into my next major important factor when you are trading gold is you always need to play with the trend. This is something that I've gotten burned on so much. I try to be just like NQ, trying to catch tops, trying to catch bottoms, trying to kind of snipe bottom tick. It has completely cooked me so many times on gold. You'll see opportunities like this where we just keep ripping and you're like, oh my gosh, it's got to drop at some point. I have to take shorts, and you will completely get cooked. You need to make sure you are always playing with the trend. Super simple approaches. I mean, if you just look at what is gold up or down on the day, whatever color it is, if it's up or down, you just play with that side. You can look at the higher time frame, make sure you have the highs and lows marked out, and kind of understand where you might be inside of a dead zone, or maybe you're in an area, you're at a high or at a low. You should kind of sit back and wait for something to happen. Those are all things you should take into factor, but majority of the time, the little fish mentality is going to save you so much money. You have to understand your position. You're probably trading on a prop firm. You have no actual input into the market. Just ride with the big fish. Let them do the work. Let them clear the path. Let them show you their input. If you do see big buys coming in, probably want to stick with those until otherwise happens. My biggest pet peeve, if you look at NAS and NQ right now, you're seeing horrible price action. Now you might be asking, Steph, it's dark outside. You're recording this at night. Of course you're going to see bad price action. Look at US 30. Look at ES. Look at Nas, all horrible choppy price action. Guess what? Gold, let's go to gold. Beautiful, beautiful, big moves, banger entries. Everything is there right now. Gold is something that is internationally, globally traded. This is something that's always going to be moving. As me, a person, I really like to trade at night. You guys know I stream on Twitch at night. Sometimes I trade in the Discord at night. This is something that's pretty important for me. You know, I like to trade multiple sessions a day. I like to trade in the morning and I like to trade at night, at New York Open and at around Asia Open. Gold is so good at night. I would actually say potentially even better at night than it is in the morning, and even more. I mean, if you're just looking at this right now, look at how clear the trajectory of gold is right now. We had a pretty nice drop and we found a bottom and we came right up off of it and we're moving like beautiful PA. Let's look at Nas right now. Put the sound effect over. Trash. There's no direction. It's all chop. We kind of did the same thing where we found that low, we bought up, and now guess what? Horrible PA. You're seeing literally 5-point moves, 10-point moves, nothing. No money's on the table. Gold is showing us. Oh my God, I might have to stop and trade right now. Before I get you into this system and show you how I've been trading this to make money, I want to remind you, once again, you need to look at the high time frame, set the bias up, set the zones up. Price has nothing else other than news and high price action, supply and demand levels to rely off of future moves. You need to make sure and understand that you are a fish inside of a big fish bowl. There's nothing that you can do. You need to play with the trend. You need to, you know, kind of put the pride to the side, put the ego to the side, because I promise you, once this money starts to roll in, you're gonna do whatever I tell you. With all that being said, now I'm gonna put you into the system that I've used to make over 100K in the last 30 days by just trading gold. Step one of this, super simple. Make sure you're looking at Yahoo Finance and Forex Factory. Forex Factory is not going to give you any sort of big sentiment or creation, but once again, you're going to be seeing those high time frame, big events, obviously the red folders, everything you're just going to be able to know going forward. It's very important. Make sure every single day you're looking at this just to have an idea of when a big move could be coming in. And gold, like I said, is so important that you do follow news. And Yahoo Finance, of course, you know, even recently, gold's already dropping, and we already have an article coming out an hour ago from Bloomberg. A lot better people at trading than we are, giving us a huge in-depth breakdown on why gold is moving down, what we should expect going forward, and it gives you the answers to all of your questions. And as you keep trading this, you'll continue to pick things up. Why is gold doing this? Why is it reacting off of this news event, but it's not reacting off of this one? You are a novice with this. You have to be a sponge. You have to open your mind to new opportunity. You are jumping into the deep end of the pool with no flippers and nothing on. You might drown, but guess what? You have to get uncomfortable in scenarios like this. Even me, I was in a position, I'm making so much money trading NAS. I've pretty much built a life off of it. And someone calls me, they convince me, I take a shot with this in a moment of, you know, kind of uncomfortability. NAS really hasn't been the best to me. I make the jump. I dive into the deep end, and it's only been a month. And that's why I'm waited to make this video. I wanted to prove that I had, you know, not all the intelligence in the world with it, but I wanted to make sure that this was something I wanted to guide you in the direction of, because guys, I'm telling you, one of the best things I could ever tell you is to get on gold. Gold has completely changed the trajectory of this year for me, and it's easily going to be the best one I've ever had. So with step one of this system out of the way, easily reminds you, look at news, make sure you're looking at Forex Factory, setting up your schedule for the day, and then make sure you're looking at Yahoo Finance constantly to see why gold is doing this. You need to make sure right now, like I said, as a beginner, why gold is moving like this compared to, you know, what NQ is doing on the day. If gold is down, NQ is down, ES is down, crude oil is down even more. We need to find out why it's doing this. I've went ahead and I went on the hour time frame and I marked out a high and I marked out a low. This is a very similar situation to what I showed you prior on the 4 hour. We actually had a very nice downtrend, some consolidation. We found a high, and now we're actually pushing down into that same exact area I showed you guys before for an opportunity for buyers to potentially pick this up. And it kind of looks like it's happening. Understand this once again. You need to make sure on the 4 hour you're following all plans until this 4 hour candle closes, which it actually does in 9 minutes. I have a bearish bias. I still will have a bearish bias. There's one thing that you have to dictate and make sure you are verbally changing, and it is that every candle, regardless of the color, does not mean its actual bias. And in this case, it does. When you see a red candle like this is a red candle. This is something that happened where prices drop. Yes, we are rejecting off of this, you know, area right here. And I just told you on the 4 hour, if you see this, you need to essentially buy up and hope that it goes up. This is not enough of a sign for me. if this candle closed right here to flip to the long bias, you need to make sure you have that kind of intuition. I'm an intuitive trader. I trade off of my mind. I trade off of my experience. Seeing a candle like this, just because we bought up off this low right here, does not make it a actual good opportunity to buy. Every candle is going to tell you a story. You need to make sure that that story is hitting you. It is feeling you. And you need to, at that point, use your judgment to decide, is this enough of an opportunity for me to switch my bias too long? This is a perfect example of what I mean by this. So we're looking back and we see on the 4-hour, we have a pretty nice continuation up. And what do we see here? We use our EMA still, by the way, 8 EMA, pretty good. We're going to get into that on the shorter time frames on why you should be using that. But once again, we see price drop here. We're seeing price fall. We're seeing price fall. And what does it do? It buys all the way back up, creates a huge bottom wick, and closes back above the EMA. But Steph, this is a red candle. I don't think a single one of you guys deems this as a bearish candle. This shows me so much opportunity and so much new kind of plans and short-term trading plans. If I see this, I'm going to trade longs. This is a huge opportunity for buys, actually, because what is actually happening during this red candle? We open up, obviously, at the top right here. We open up right here, and we see huge selling coming all the way down, almost initially to this where this first pop-up actually started. And then what are we seeing? We're seeing buyers pick this up fully and showing us a new higher low, giving us now an opportunity. What, when you see a move like this, you're thinking, damn, I missed out on the big move. All the buyers are down here. Now guess what? This is showing us that we have an all new opportunity for buyers. Now we know when I get into a trade around this area, buyers are here. Buyers are going to try and hold this up, and we actually never got to come back down and actually prove that because the buyers were so strong they pushed this all the way back up to the high. But you would have a really good opportunity and a really good plan to trade to the bullish side off of that. So just because a candle is red or green does not mean that it is that side. It is up to your judgment to dictate, especially when you're trading off of zones, if it's an opportunity for you to switch your bias or not. This was a trade that I literally just took, and it's one of the easiest breakdowns you'll ever see, and a huge reason why my system is so easy for you to adapt to. Of course, the consistency and the confidence you'll have every single day. It's Sunday night, and this candle right here, not only is it a huge bearish sign, but it is the first opening hour of the day. It is 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock right here was the opening of Sunday. What does this mean? Obviously, the market was closed over the weekend. This was the first time since Friday afternoon that we've had any sort of opportunity to change the price of gold. And what did we see here? We saw a big pop up, and we saw price come all the way back down, close below the EMA, close below where it opened up. And that was a huge bearish sign for an opportunity to push this down. And I already told you guys we had this big bearish move down in this consolidation upwards. We had a bearish bias going into today, solely off the fact if you do look high time frame, you see that consolidation, you see that sideways chop. But even if you look at the hours following up to that market close on Friday, you saw this big drop, and you saw a lot of sellers not doing anything too crazy, but just holding this down, not showing any big opportunities for buyers to take control. So what do we see off open? Big buyers come in, sellers take full control. They sweep that high, price comes all the way back down and closes below that EMA. Guess what? I don't know if you noticed, that 4-hour zone would have played out. This was that same high and low I showed you guys earlier, but off the 4-hour. Sometimes when you are trading gold and you're looking at price, you're gonna have these really tight ranges. So when you do that, you can go down on the 1-hour and look for opportunity. This is something I like to call a nested zone. This would be a zone inside of a zone, refining a zone if so. When you do have a very tight range like this, what you can do is you can go down like from the 4-hour to the 1-hour and actually minimize these zones for just the candle that initially printed this. So we look at the highest wick that we have right here off the 1-hour, which you guys can see was here. Same exact thing here. We had this whole 4-hour zone marked out, but the really majority part of this, the big candle we need to look out for, is right here. Now look at how much more range we have and opportunity we have to play off of this. And what do we see? Price buys up into this high. Expect to see sells here, comes all the way back down, closes below that EMA. You take that trade every single time. When I tell you guys story, look for the candles that have a story. This candle we took the trade off of has the story. This has the opportunity. This is where you are taking these trades, off of the candles that show you this big value. You jump in those, you have the stop loss at the high of the wick, you have your TP at the next low of the zone. 20 points, bro. I made $10,000 off of this. I just showed you. This just happened. You see how easy it is? And it's not always going to be like that. From an approach standpoint, you need to make sure, though, your trades are very simple. This is a game where it's so hard to win. It's so hard to see those results. It's so much easier on yourself if you do give yourself these big opportunities and you make sure you're getting the most out of them, and you still see these huge returns. So now that you know how to trade my kind of higher time frame, slower pace, easier to manage, and actually more rewarding style of gold, if you prefer day trading, getting in, getting out, let me show you what we do next. So these strategies actually work hand in hand. So we want to make sure we're looking at the hourly, we're looking at the 4 hour to make sure we build our bias. Again, this is the first candle of Sunday. This shows us sellers are continuing to push this down. There's an opportunity for sells. We follow that right then and there. Once this hourly candle closed, I had my bias to the short side. Once I already had it, of course, that only gave me more confidence going into it. So now that we have our bias, now let's go in the shorter time frames and actually try and find any sort of income we could have created off of this. And I did take this trade, obviously, so let's look at actually what went on within it. Very similar to what I told you before on the 5 minute specifically. What you want to be doing is you want to be playing with the trend, which is very simple. If you just keep underneath this EMA as well as playing to the side of the high time frame bias, just look for candles with a high profile or kind of a high point of interest. For example, we want to be seeing big wicks, we want to see engulfing candles, we want to see any sort of candle that is going to show us kind of a, hey, out of all of these hundreds of candles, this one really is giving me some insight. What do we see here? We see big sells coming in. We see price start to buy up. We start to see an opportunity for buys off of this candle right here. And guess what? We actually ended up wicking down, creating a very nice hammer to the downside. I told you guys, just because a candle is green does not mean it is bullish. This hammer candle right here is not bullish. If you know what a hammer is, doesn't matter what color it is. We see the trend is bearish. At that point, we're looking for an opportunity just like prior. I literally just told you this, where sellers are actually going to pick up at a lower high. We had this hammer candle set up right here. Once that candle closed, I'm jumping in shorts. Why? Because once that candle closes, I know that there are now sellers in this area. And what did we see right after that? We saw sellers literally pick them up. We saw buys. They tried to get it up. Sellers picked it back up, pushed it even lower, playing with the trend, looking at high profile candles. Let's look at another one. By the way, I always will usually run a 1-to-1 when I'm trading off the short time frame. If you are, trading with funded accounts, you do need to pass them. I don't mind if you do get into a trade, have a 1-to-1, and then if you really like the bias and you really like the trade, just hold on to it, move your stop loss to break even, give yourself an opportunity to catch those big expansion plays. We'll talk about that in a minute though. Still on the 5 minute, once again, we are looking for candles of interest. Engulfing candles are another one that is going to present you with a lot of opportunity in the space. Basically, an engulfing candle is, just think of a little square, is a candle that actually opens and closes bigger than the previous one. You see how the open is actually higher here than it was here, and the close is higher here than it was there. Now, there are going to be times where you see this actually open exactly where it was prior. That will still count for me, especially in a scenario like this where you are in such a bearish trend. Buys had an opportunity, they came up, they got rejected, you jump in a trade right there, easily run a 1-to-1 off of that. This is an even cleaner example. You see right here, we actually have an engulfing candle once again right after that previous trade. We see that this candle literally swallows the previous. You jump in a trade just off of that, you run a 1-to-1, and you are going to be just fine. Think about the whole concept of an engulfing candle, the name of an engulfing candle. It is engulfing the previous one. It is engulfing the buyers. They are too weak and they took over, and sells once again continue to run you to hit TP on that. It's crazy that I can just make this video and show you guys all these entries while it's happening. We're still on the 5 minute banger candle. This candle is perfect. A big thing for me is opportunity and positioning. I told you guys this. Now, this one does get a little bit skeptical because we're actually playing against the trend. But what do we see here? And I'll move it out of the way just a little bit just so you can see. We have a perfect hammer candle to the upside. And like I said, it's red. It's red. Oh my gosh, bro, you can't trade a red candle. It's not bullish. That is a bullish candle. We actually have this low being created. We're starting to see some buys. Sells push it all the way back down. Buyers pick it all the way back up. And the only thing I can say about this, only bad thing, is that this is not in the trend. This is not in the bias. We are playing to the long side against the trend. But if you ran a 1-to-1 off of this, again, you would have hit TP. Super nice. Little bit skeptical, but that's the opportunity right here. We're looking for candles of high interest, and that is one right there. Ironically, guess what? Just after this, actually, just after you hit TP on that, you're back at another trade right here. You guys are seeing how many opportunities you have in this market. Candles of interest, candles of interest, candles of interest, and this is still ripping, man. I wish I was in this trade. See right here, off this candle close. Beautiful candle close to the downside. Let me remind you one more time. This candle, we're seeing buys, we're seeing buys. Let's say the candle opens up right here. Boom. We're seeing this candle buy all the way up to this high right here. Huge buys just came in. A lot of orders just got consumed. Seller said, guess what? We're the boss. We're coming all the way back down. And then we're actually closing below we got in. So now sellers have full control in this area. The big reason why I like to do this is now I know once I get in this trade right here, order filled, I know in this red area in my drawdown, it is going to be a point of interest for the people to my side. They know now if we get above this, this could potentially have an opportunity to shift the bias, and it could have an opportunity for buyers to take over and push this higher. The people that just took sell positions that are actually controlling the market do not like that. So I want to make sure the trades that I get into, your drawdown is of value. It is in a position position where if we do get over this, it's a pretty telltale thing that we're going to actually switch the bias, and it's kind of the last line of defense for sells. So when you are playing that way, especially with the trend, it's a very key area. You're always going to get the value, and you run a 1-1 off this, and this already would hit a TP. Now let's say you want to get even crazier. The 2-minute and the 3-minute are the next opportunity. This is the same exact thing, but now we're going to be going to the shorter time frames, looking for more setups. I already told you guys we have the high time frame bias set. 8 EMA is crucial here. 8 EMA is so important to make sure you guys actually understand the capabilities behind this. This is a very similar style to what I have traded before and showed you guys on NQ, which is one thing that has transferred over. You're being able to take these short time frame trades where you're seeing just little scalps here and there. Now honestly, in retrospect, I would not recommend this to you guys just because your emotions are very high and your psychology is not at a peak yet, but we're looking for the same exact thing. We're looking of candles of interest off of the EMA specifically. The 5-minute, sometimes you don't need to worry about it being on the EMA, but we're looking for hammer candles. We're looking for engulfing candles. You see right here, an opportunity for buys. You're seeing right here, just looking at it, another opportunity for sells. Your bias needs to be pretty much out of the window for this. When you are trading this short of a time frame, it's really not that important to trade with that side, as long as your profits respect that. When you are getting in a long position like this, I told you guys earlier, bias is going to obviously be in play, but when you're looking for a 1-point TP, 1-point SL, it doesn't really matter, but it still would be recommended to trade with the side of the market. Same exact thing on the 2-minute here. We're actually seeing we have this nice drop to the downside. Obviously sells are in control. We're seeing the retracement. EMAs act like magnets. Price is magnetizing to this EMA. We see buyers come up, sellers rejected, they step in one more time. Now you can actually, because this candle is closing, you can draw this zone right here and believe this is an area for shorts. Now at this candle close, you would jump in shorts, and then you would actually play this down to this low. Another thing you can do is if you are trading off the 15-minute, you can build zones just like this, and then what you can do is you can go on the 1-minute, you can go on the 2-minute, and you can look for actually rejections off of this zone going forward. You see why I love this? I've just showed you pretty much 5 different ways to trade, and I've showed you they all have had setups within the last 30 minutes, and they've all played out. This is not something that you're gonna obviously see every single day, but the price action is so clean, it's so predictable, it's so easy to manipulate, and once again, it's all about positioning. Putting yourself in the correct position to see results is what I have to do if I want to keep succeeding day in and day out. And actually, as we're forming this 2-minute candle just rejected off of this low, I mean, who knows what's gonna happen next? Probably gonna hit TP. Okay, I'm actually gonna take this trade right now to show you guys I'm not bullshitting. We have a beautiful rejection off the EMA. Buyers were in control, they buy up, they reject down, they close back below the EMA, giving us a really nice candle to trade off of. 2.6 XL, a 2.6 point stop loss, and a 2.6 DP. I'll see you guys in like a minute. Welcome back. I'm now $1,300 richer. You can see right there, that's the last hour. I also took this on my Alpha Futures account. I'm up for $2,900 already on the day. Make sure to go use code Steph at checkout for the best prop firm in the game, best dashboard, best rules, best opportunities, highest payout cap. It is by far the best prop firm for you to see success on and to make consistent payouts. Help me help you. Use code Steph. Be just like me. Don't feel like you're battling your firm. Win with them. You guys can see I have multiple ways for me to position myself and make money, but I make sure every single time I'm doing each one of these, I'm sticking by the strict rules that I've set up per different individual trading strategy. They do actually correlate and help each other out though, but I do recommend sticking to 1 or 2 of these. Do not switch in between them. Main thing though, stick to one side of the market. Make sure you're sticking with your bias, build it out, trade that way. It's only gonna help your psychology out. If you're still not convinced about this, you're literally holding yourself back from the gains that you should be getting. I literally made almost $10,000 while I'm recording this video, showed you guys live just from trading gold while I'm recording this. What are you doing? I've already made over $100,000 in the month that I've put my time into gold. I'm trading less, I'm making more. The opportunities are endless when you do make this switch. My confidence, my clarity, the transparency I have with the structure that gold has built out for me makes it so much easier for me to wake up every single day and trade this beautiful price action. I'm saying this out of the bottom of my heart. I really do believe your best interest is with gold right now. That could potentially change maybe as NAS actually falls off of all-time highs, but at the moment, currently, gold is where your money should be going. The best thing I can tell you is make the switch. NQ is not the move right now. There's no more stress for me, and especially no more guessing. Now that you've seen why NQ should be dropped for good, if you're still trading blind and you're struggling to see that consistent profitability that you've always wanted, click that link below and join the Discord to work with me, see my live trades, join this beautiful community, and learn more about my in-depth strategy approaches. Students like all these are making money just from being in there and the relationships that they're building and the community they've surrounded themselves with. It is a no-brainer to take a shot with this. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.